Hello, welcome to Somerset News Network. I've had two trips to the United States. My first trip was as a visiting lecturer at the Gunsmithing College in Arizona, in Prescott in Arizona. Brilliant bunch of blokes, and I'm still talking to some of the students now on Facebook 20 years later. I had an absolutely wonderful trip. Only one slight little problem. I took loads of photographs. When we came back on the plane and you go through the security, I had it in my bag and they obviously x-rayed my bag and I lost half the photos. So I've got some photos somewhere and I'll try and find them and we'll do an explanation of my Arizona trip later on. What I want to talk about now is my second trip to the United States. We flew into Newark, which is, near New York, and we stayed in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. And we stayed in a small suburb called Flourtown. And we stayed with my mate, and we had a wonderful time. I mean, for a gunman, and I'm a gunsmith by trade, that's what I do. So we've already had our pistols taken off us and we're not allowed to shoot. So the first thing my mate David did is take us pistol shooting. And we went into this gun shop. And then it had a range in the back and you could shoot pistols. I had a range of ammo on the table, 9mm, and two guns, a clock and a Browning high power. And David just said, I've got to use the ammo and get rid of it, help yourself. And he walked off and talked to the gun shop owner. And I'm plonking away there at the targets. And it's got electric targets, so you don't need to walk down the range. You press a button and it comes back to you. Take a target off and put another one up and it goes down again. I was just plonking away there. Reloading, plonking away again. Local copper comes in and stands in the bay next to me. Hello, he said. Oh, I said, hi. He said, oh, you're not American. I said, no, I'm British. I said, I come from England. Oh, he said, what are you doing? And we had a nice, lovely chat. And he explained that he has to shoot so many rounds a week. And he comes into the range and he fires, I don't know if it was 20 or 30 rounds, but he fired a couple of boxes of ammo down the range. And I was firing down the range as well. Then we had another chat. Absolutely brilliant. Hello. And we had a chat with a gun shop owner. Brilliant again. Nicest people you can meet, gun people. Because we're all talking the same language. Anyway, then the next day we went clay shooting. And we went to the Philadelphia Cricket Club. And they've got two golf courses. And they shut one of the golf courses down in the winter and they have a skeet layout. Absolutely brilliant. And down the line as well. So we went shooting there. Then the next day, another trip out shooting, we went to Cedar Creek in New Jersey. So we crossed the Delaware, went into New Jersey, and it's just a forest in the countryside. I think it was something like 1,000 acres. And the clay shoot was in an arc, in like a horseshoe shape. You couldn't shoot each other because it was so wide apart, it was about half a mile, you know. And to get round, you had to go round on a golf trolley. You could never walk it. So we paid our ticket and we got the golf trolley. And we went round stand to stand. Absolutely brilliant. They're just what they call a sporting layout. Then before we flew out to Montana, David took us to Cabela's. And I've still got my thermal mug I bought from Cabela's. Absolutely brilliant. I've used it for years. And it keeps me tea or coffee or cold drink in the summer. Keeps it cold or keeps it hot. Quick slurp. Yeah. And I bought loads of stuff there. Bought a pair of boots. You go into Cabela's and it's in like a warehouse. And they got a biplane hanging from the ceiling. They've got one section in Cabela's and it's just Realtree furniture. 3-piece suites with Realtree on it. Everything's Realtree. They've got a section for ammo, a section for deer stalking, and they got loads of different high seats. They got a fishing department, and of course the gun racks, and loads of guns. And ammo is sold like they sell ammo here in a supermarket just straight off the shelves. And you could buy boxes of whatever you wanted. And we were there for most of the day in Cabela's. And I don't think we saw half of it. Outside they were selling boats and canoes. As you walk in, there's a great big statue. I mean, real life-size statues of 2 men in a canoe coming down. Absolutely brilliant. They've also got walk-in fish tanks. Yeah, walk-in fish tanks, and you're there, and you're looking straight at the fish. It's brilliant. And then they got another section that you walk round, and it explains about hunting, and they got all the different deers, whitetail, elk. Then we were going out to Montana. So down to Newark, on a plane, over to Denver, changed planes from Denver down to Salt Lake City. We were going to take 4 flights, but the amount of money it cost for 4 flights to get into where I wanted to go in Montana, it was cheaper for me to take 2 flights, go into Salt Lake City, hire a car for the week that I was there, and then drive up to Montana from Salt Lake City. We wanted to see the countryside, we wanted to see the people, we wanted to see the culture, as they say. And we had a wonderful trip. Pat was driving. Now this photo is Pat in the car leaving Salt Lake City. And we're on the highway and we're traveling north. And it's March, so it's reasonably nice weather. But that changed as we went up. And as we went up the Rockies, and we went up what's called the Lewis and Clark Trail up to Montana. And all on the stops along the road, it had Lewis and Clark was there. This was a staging post for trappers. That was at Twin Peaks. And at Twin Peaks, there's a flat piece of ground in the valley. Oh, must be 200-300 acres with the river going down it, so they had water. And every year they used to meet the trappers. So the buyers of the furs used to meet the trappers there. Obviously they had the girls and the bar and the drink to take the money back off of them. And it was called Twin Peaks. There's 2 snow-covered mountains in the background. Brilliant. I know. So then we're driving up to Montana. Now, if you want to see the video, I should have made a commentary over the top of it. It's called Pat Drives to Flathead Lake, Montana. And that was our trip all the way up. I videoed it all the way up. I took some other video, but I didn't realise the video camera broke. I had mini tapes, and a lot of the tapes got destroyed. I don't know why, the machine just gave up. I filmed going to Flathead Lake, and then I did some other filming, and I didn't realise when we got back home, it just wasn't viewable. It was horrible. I didn't get a minute of footage out of it. But I did get the driving from Salt Lake City to Flathead Lake. Brilliant. Like I said, we're going up the Lewis and Clark Trail, and we're heading for salmon, and we're going along the valley there, and the snow from the top of the mountain to down in the valley, the snow cleared a little bit, and we stopped by the river there, and there was a bald eagle on a little island, but I couldn't catch it on the camera and it didn't come out. Well, never mind. It's one of those things. But we were having a whale of a time. Absolutely brilliant. And then we stopped at a place called the Big Hole Battlefield. Oh, that might be interesting. So the sign said down this way, so we went down. Now the snow is 4 foot high, and they've cleared all the snow off the road, and there's a visitor centre there. And we parked up outside of it, and there was a ranger's car there. And when we went to the door, the ranger came up behind us. Lovely lady. And she said, "Oh, sorry, we're closed." I said, "Oh, we're just driving through. We're on our way to Montana." "Where have you come from?" "I come from England, and we come over here, and we're driving from Salt Lake City up to Flathead Lake, Montana." She said, "Would you like to come and have a look round? I've got to put the heating on for a couple of hours and keep it wrong and just check. While I'm checking things, would you like to have a look round?" "Oh, yes, please." It was brilliant. I mean, a brilliant visitor centre. Explained about the battle between the native Indians and the cavalry, the American army. And it was ever so interesting. You know, it was the Nez Price Indians, and they escaped from the reservation and took a trip all the way around Montana and Idaho, almost up to Canada, and then back again, and there was a battle. Big Hole Battlefield. Anyway, we left Salmon, and we stayed the night, and we went up through the Lewis and Clark Trail to Flathead Lake. And you're going through the valley, and then you go over the top, and then you get a panoramic view of the lake in the background. Absolutely stunning scenery. I mean, it's in picture books and on coffee tables, and you know, all the postcards had this view, and it was beautiful. Flathead Lake, Montana. Absolutely beautiful place. Anyway, that's my trip from Salt Lake City to Flathead Lake, Montana. Brilliant trip. As we were staying in Flathead Lake, we had a day free, so we went round the National Bison Reserve, and we drove down in a loop and back out to Flathead Lake. Absolutely fascinating. The wildlife. We stopped on the side of the road, and I thought somebody was shooting. It sounded like a rifle going off. And it was bighorn sheep butting. Absolutely incredible. They butt, and this sound rings out like a rifle shot all down through the valley. Wonderful to see. As we were driving along the stream going round, there was a beaver dam, and then there was bison in the field. You know, to be able to see the wildlife. I know it was a bison reserve, and they're sort of semi-farm, but they're just wandering wild, as I heard, going round. Wonderful to see. Then we came across a little hamlet, township, and they had like an outdoor museum of all the old army stuff there. All the old trailers and covered wagons. And that was brilliant to see. Anyway, that's my American trip. I had an absolutely wonderful time. And we'll tell you about Montana when I can find the photographs. Bye bye.